families, friends and neighbors, sharing gifts and helping hands. We're people helping people, and we're proud that we can say we're always getting better and growing stronger every day. Taking pride in Mobile, haven't you noticed? We've got it all right here at home. Nothing can stop us. Taking pride in where we're going, taking pride in who we are. Mobile, show your pride. Together we'll go far. There's a feeling of excitement, you can see it everywhere. The pride of our whole region is the heartbeat that we share. The heartbeat that we share. Taking pride in Mobile.
710 Time Saver Traffic from the Main Street Flooring and Design Traffic Center.
And watch for an accident with partial road blockage, Scenic Highway at Noriega Drive. Also watch for a crash in Milton, Cooley Drive at West Spencerfield Road. And it's slow on Highway 59 from I-10 to Gulf Shores, 49-minute drive. With Time Saver Traffic, I'm Lisa Baque.
This report is sponsored by Our American Stories.
This is Lee Habib, host of Our American Stories. On our next episode, we'll share the story of Nancy Kelsey, the Betsy Ross of California. You won't want to miss the next episode of Our American Stories.
If you see traffic trouble, call the Acadian Windows traffic tip line at pound 250, keyword total traffic when prompted. Acadian Windows, your hurricane protection specialists.
Now, your chance to win $1,000. Enter this nationwide keyword on our website. Deposit. That's deposit. Enter it now at newsradio710.com. The Uncle Henry Show. Weekday afternoons from 5 till 7.
I don't own a computer. I own a radio. Doesn't owning a radio count anymore? Doesn't owning a radio matter anymore? I'm listening to you on the radio, you idiot.
The Uncle Henry Show, proud to be on the radio. Still on the radio. Thank you for listening to the Uncle Henry Show today. Very excited to have a special guest in the studio with me in town this week for a limited engagement. Michael Stewart. Longtime Mobile radio personality, Michael Stewart. Michael, welcome back to the Uncle Henry Show.
Uncle Henry, it's a thrill to be back here with you, my friend. Woo, man.
By the way, you can look at Michael Stewart on the Uncle Henry Show YouTube channel. We've got the show live on YouTube. Michael Stewart, years at WABB. When did you start at WABB in Mobile?
Officially January 5th, 1984.
You know the date,
I
January
do.
5th, 1984. And then you were there until the, mid-90s?
I left there in 88 and then came back again in 91 and left in 95.
Wow, okay, so a couple of stretches there.
Bernie
at
was good like
WABB.
that. He would always bring you back if he, no matter what. So
Yes, he always was good at bringing people back. Now, Michael Stewart, he was known as Michael Stewart on WABB. He was also before that known as Marathon Mike.
That's right.
Been a guest on this show a few times and on my other shows. You are in town. Tell the listeners why you're in town.
Well, this week I'm in town because of the celebration of life for a buddy of both of ours, Tim Camp. Tim Camp was the engineer at WABB, the radio station that I started at way back in the early 80s, 1984, and he passed away several weeks ago. And they're doing a celebration of life. So I said, you know what? I'm coming to town to go pay respects to my buddy and see Uncle Henry.
Glad. So always so much fun to see you, and I want to thank you for reaching out to me and getting together with me and my wife before we're going to see each other at the celebration of life for Tim Camp tomorrow evening. Now, listener, we're going to just walk down memory lane with Michael Stewart here for this hour, talking about some of his old adventures in Mobile radio and maybe some of his ventures in other towns in radio, because you may find it to be an adventuresome type of career. I know that those of us in the business have felt it's adventuresome. Also, before we're out of time in this hour, we'll save it for next half hour. Michael was in town during the pandemic or toward the end of the pandemic about 4 years ago, and you had a speaking role in that De Niro movie.
That's right, About My Father.
And you were in a scene with him.
That's correct.
So we will get into that. We'll find out what it was like to be with De Niro in our area as we go through this hour here on the Uncle Henry Show. Now, before we start talking about any specifics, how did you? I know you went to high school, Citronelle High School. How did you end up getting into radio?
You know, in high school, I had a lot of friends who would say, hey, you know, because I was very outgoing, talkative, and they said, hey, will you come DJ my little party? And they had, like, you know, I don't know if we even had cassette players back then or whatever, but long before DVDs and any of that stuff, for sure. We just had albums and 45s. And then, I started working at the local skating rink in Citronelle. When I graduated high school, I was doing some clubs around Mobile, and even a skating rink out on Shelton Beach, Skate World.
Okay.
And we had a guest DJ from WABB. He did the night show at that time, and his name was Tim Livingston. And they came out and did a live broadcast at the skating rink. So he was out there broadcasting live for a couple of hours. And, you know, I had to do my thing as a DJ and stuff. And Tim, at the end of it, came up and he goes, hey, you're kind of funny. I was like, oh, I'm sorry. And so he said, I do a guest DJ thing. And he invited me down. And it was on a Thursday. It was in December. It was like the second week of December of 1983. And I was on, like, only on the air for like an hour, and he would hand me a card. He'd go, read this. And, you know, and I sounded probably like Mickey Mouse. Oh, hi, everybody. You know, and so, but when I walked out of there, man, I remember standing in the parking lot going, I want to keep doing that. And so I started calling Leslie Fram from Leslie and Hound Dog Show.
Program director of WABB.
Yeah, she was the boss lady, and they said, that's who you need. So I started calling her and left a few messages, and about 3 weeks later after the holiday, she reached out to me and brought me in as a part-timer to be on the air from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. And then I would run the Casey Kasem's American Top 40 from 9 to 1 o'clock. And then shortly after that, I would come back and do Rick D's Top 40 show from 5 to 10. And that's how I got the name Marathon Mike, pulling a lot of shifts as a part-timer and stuff. But I still remember the first song I played at 6 a.m. that morning.
What was the first song you played on WABB?
Naked Eyes, When the Lights Go Out.
Okay. Which to me means nothing.
No!
I have no memory of that song.
Right, followed by the Pointer Sisters. I don't know, Neutron Dance.
But that is how you got into radio, is just by making those phone calls. Now, you said before you got into radio, you were a club DJ?
Yeah.
So tell me, can you remember the names of the places in Mobile that you would play records?
Yes, but not in order, like timeline. I do remember places like, well, I mean, it first started, I was singing in bands right before that. And so my band, we would play in places like Fandango's, Solomon's, the Met.
Remember all of those.
You remember the Met in Springdale Mall? Boy, that was the happening place. But then as a DJ, would come back and do things like, remember Monte Carlo, Adams?
Yes, Adams. Vividly remember there on the Beltline.
Yeah, Monte Carlo was a place that had Jello wrestling sometimes. I would have to MC those things.
Wait a minute. All right, stop. We're going to stop right here. You were the master of ceremonies for Jello wrestling.
Yeah, ladies only Jello wrestling. Yeah.
Ladies only Jello wrestling. So this was a different time. This is a different time in our society and culture where we would have such a thing happen.
Oh yeah,
So
right
you
there
were,
in the
and how
club.
old were you? Do you think
Oh,
you were
gosh,
when
I-
you were emceeing the master of ceremony for Jello wrestling?
Like 21 years old.
21
maybe, yeah,
years
20,
old.
Yeah, something like that.
Now, how did this work? Was there a pool, a kiddie pool?
Yeah, they set up a type of pool and blockaded from it, from all the people, and then they would do these wrestling things. And the very first time we did it, I got pulled in and had to go home and change and everything. The boss didn't like that too
The
much.
first time you got pulled into the Jello
Yeah, I got
wrestling.
pulled
All
into
right,
it.
now who did the wrestling? Were these people that were paid to wrestle, or did the people want to
they
wrestle?
signed up to win prizes, and it was almost like a throwdown street fight or something. Just
Now,
people
what
out the street.
What were these women wearing when they wrestled in Jello?
They would be in their bikinis, their bathing suits, and so and I was not, thank goodness, but But,
All right.
but those were the days. And then you had, I didn't play there, but this is in the days of Studebakers, I think Chantilly's.
Yeah.
Gordon's Supper Club. Remember all
Yes, I do.
Oh, yeah.
God, I hadn't heard that name probably since it was there.
We
All right, back. We're going to be, I don't know, the interview has already taken a turn I did not imagine. I didn't realize that you were involved in Jello wrestling. More on Jello wrestling and other assorted topics as we continue our broadcast with Michael Stewart here on News Radio 710 WNTM's Uncle Henry Show. Back after the break.
710 Time Saver Traffic from the Main Street Flooring and Design Traffic Center.
It looks like there is a crash on Highway 90, a scenic highway just east of.
Now, Michael Stewart, the people watching on YouTube can still hear us. They can still, now
there we are.
Now they can still hear us.
So,
So don't say anything too incriminating while the people on YouTube can hear us.
oh, no, I would never do that.
Let me double check and see if we still have viewers here. And we do. We've got some watching. Thank you for the number of people that are looking in. Hello to Stephen Breland.
You see one of them named Grant on there?
Let's see. I see Stephen Breland. I see the U.S. Coast Guard wife who says that she remembers Marathon Mike doing Rock War.
Oh, yeah, the 9 o'clock Rock War. Wow.
9 o'clock Rock War. I see Love Freak 69. Nelson. Hello to Nelson. Bama Big Man. Larry Morting, JD, 68-year-old Chris of West Loxley. Thank you all for looking in on this episode of the Uncle Henry Show with my friend Michael Stewart.
My son Grant's watching us, too.
Okay, very good. Glad that you're... Now, Grant, how old is Grant?
He will be 23 in about a month.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations to him.
Yeah, he's my youngest boy.
And where is Grant in the world?
Grant is in Atlanta, going to college at Kennesaw State University. He's in
Okay.
his second year up there. His sister Sydney has graduated law school in New Hampshire.
Law school?
Waiting to hear on the bar. It should come out before the end of the month. We should
How
find
did
out.
this happen?
That
your daughter is going into law now. Doesn't she have some of the genetic talent of being able to sing and stuff like that?
Oh yeah, she sang, act. She was in all the plays. Comes from from her mom and some of that myself. The intelligent part that wasn't from me.
Gotcha.
I graduated high school and said no more. I'm done with school.
Right.
And so so she's graduating law school, waiting to hear on the bar. And then I have an older daughter Brittany, who lives in Panama City Beach. She's a songwriter and entertainer, and then my grandson. He's been a drummer his whole life. So.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he will be, he's 17 and a half years old.
How about that?
I feel so old right now.
Well, you should. You've racked up some years, but there's not a problem with that.
The good years.
Yes, indeed. How about that? Well, congratulations on having family and people wanting to take a look at you while you're on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's always nice.
That is very nice. I'm glad they're tuned in. So.
All right, we're going to be back on the radio in about 2 minutes, YouTubers. And if you have any questions, I'm sure you won't, but if you have any, feel free to call in or to type them in here on the YouTube. Now, we had the one person mention the Rock War. Now, was that every night? Was the Rock? Because this person's Friday night. Was it every night?
It was Monday through Friday. We did the 9 o'clock Rock War, and a song would go up against a new song, and I would take votes and counts, and the winner would be the one that would get played the next night. There were some that only stayed up a few days. There were some that, Your Love by The Outfield seemed like it played for a month. It wouldn't go away.
Isn't it interesting to think back on how we used to, nowadays, people just stream it, and you can look and see who's got the top stream to see what's the most popular song.
Exactly.
Back in the day, the children had to call the DJ and had to tell the DJ they liked the song.
Yeah, and those were the fun times because we would always record, not always, but we would record a lot of the calls and play them back, over the songs. And say,
Right.
I'd like to vote for your love, that kind of thing.
All right, we are going back on the radio. Thank you, YouTubers, for looking.
Temperatures, most spots will be down around 60 degrees for an overnight low. Tomorrow, plenty of sunshine on your Thursday with daytime highs above normal. Highs up into the upper 80s with no chance of rain. I'm Fox 10 News Chief Meteorologist Jason Smith for this iHeartRadio station.
This report is sponsored by Our American Stories.
This is Lee Habib, host of Our American Stories. On our next episode, we'll share the story of Nancy Kelsey, the Betsy Ross of California. You won't want to miss the next episode of Our American Stories.
Roll Tide. This is the Uncle Henry Show on News Radio 710 WNTM.
It is 5:20 here on the Uncle Henry Show. Michael Stewart is the guest this hour. Mobile radio personality back in the day, Michael Stewart on WABB, also Marathon Mac on WABB. Now, before we get back to your Jello wrestling,
We don't need to go
nowadays you're still doing media type work. I hear your voice every day on Fox 10 doing commercials. So is that your main job now, doing commercial production work?
Yeah, back in 2008, I left a radio station, and you've mentioned some other stations. So I worked here in Mobile. I worked in Pensacola. I was in New Hampshire for a little while, Charleston, South Carolina, Pensacola, Destin, and then Colorado Springs. Excuse me. And then in '88, I left the radio station. I thought, I don't want to be in the building at radio stations anymore. I want to do what I do, which was audio commercials, production director.
Right.
I would make all the commercials you'd hear on the air. I love doing that, and I took my part-time business full-time in 2008, and have been growing ever since. And so I do that for radio stations across the country and some TV stations as well. And WALA is one of the ones that I do a lot of stuff for. And then, on top of that, I MC events and, charity fundraisers.
Jello wrestling
well, we
events?
don't do those anymore. I think those got outlawed in the late 80s, I think.
So I follow Michael Stewart. We're friends on Facebook, of course, and I always see you posting things where you're emceeing things at church. Do you ever flash back to the days where you were emceeing all kind of wild things?
Oh yeah, you remember we'd go over to the beach, and they always had Hawaiian Tropics contests and things like that, and it was just people would come out in their bikini, and the crowd would yell and vote for whoever they thought would be the one. Those were a big thing, so I did a lot of those back in the day. Like you said, things in bars. I mean, we had couples vegetable contest where they had to move vegetables across the room without using their hands with each.
What kind of disgusting! This is disgusting. The kind of things that went on. I'm glad. I think I guess that those things don't happen anymore because now all of the filth of the universe is on your phone.
That's it.
And people don't have to go to a bar and have some guy throw some Jello into a kiddie pool. They can just pick up their phone and look at their phone, and there's all kind of filth on the phone.
Oh, man.
But look, before we go any further into our walk down memory lane, the reason that Michael Stewart is in town is he is in Mobile for a celebration of life for the late Tim Camp. Tim Camp, who has been running the zoo for years, passed away recently, but he worked with both of us at WABB. He was a friend of yours.
Yep.
Now, tell me, about your relationship with him, because you two, didn't you form a musical group or a musical duo together?
Yeah, we did. It was more of Tim putting this together, but Tim being the engineer, we worked together a lot of hours. He was very nice, would show me things if I needed to know or ask, and then one day he came to me and he says, because Tim was a musician and he was on like the Vox Tones and several other bands and Warren Wolf and people like that here in town. And he came to me, he says, I've written some songs, and he told me, he says, my voice isn't like the right voice for it. He said, but would you be interested in singing? Because I used to sing in bands and stuff. And I said, yeah. And we ended up doing like 6 or 7 songs together that Tim wrote. One of them I wrote. And then the rest he wrote, all of the lyrics, the music, played it all on the keyboards and everything, and drum programming. And one of those made it to, and we're going to go way back now, the Harbinger album. It was
the Harbinger newspaper in Mobile.
That's right. They had an album with various bands from around Mobile, and Tim's song "Something You Told Me" was one of the cuts on it. It was side A, cut number 3. I still remember that.
See, I don't even remember this stuff. I mentioned when Tim Camp passed away that I thought he was a genius.
Oh yeah, he was.
Here's
brilliant.
another example. What happened to all those songs that you worked on?
I still have them. The quality is not what they would have been back then, because they were from, back in the day, they were on reel-to-reel tapes. Then they made it to cassettes. Then they finally made it to CDs. And then they made it to, MP3s. And now your MP3 is the quality of what you started with way back. And so I still have those. In fact, one of Tim's daughters reached out to me and she said, listen, she wrote to me on Facebook and she said, when I was a little girl, my dad would play this song, and we all loved it, including my mom. We just loved it, and we listened to it all the time. And she says, and it made it on that Harbinger album, which, by the way, someone about a month ago found in a thrift store and gave it to Tim's daughter. Said, I found this, and it's your dad's on here. And she said, we loved that song. Didn't you used to sing it? And that was me. It was called Something You Told Me. And so I shared with her all the other songs that we had, because I don't really, I have no really reason to give those to anybody, but I gave those to her for her to hear.
What was he like to work with in that particular way? That is that's different from radio work when you two are working together on music.
Oh yeah, it was really different. He was really in. Tim was a great engineer, always in his element when he was around that stuff. But a different type of element puts people in a different type of personality. He was a little more fun. We had some fun with that, but always a perfectionist. Now let's do this again. Stop. Let's, that's not the word. It's this word, great director, producer, and all that. So it was just good times. And we did that for several years. In fact, he and Will Pendarvis wrote the infamous Buck Naked record that was pretty big.
I didn't know he wrote that.
You did not?
No.
Yes, he wrote that. He played it, and I sang the lead on that one as well. And then there were all the staff, and they pressed that on 45s, and those were in jukeboxes all around Mobile, and like in some of the night back when they had those in the places. And so, we had Buck Naked nights out at the Comedy Club over on, I think, wasn't that Government Street? Or
Absolutely. They're on, it's on Government across from, I believe, the police headquarters.
That's
now.
right, exactly.
So did you and Tim Camp go out during this era, and did you ever perform as a duo together? Because I told you before we went on the air that I remember seeing Tim Camp and Michael Stewart perform some of this music at Michael Stewart's wedding.
And for the life of me, I do not remember it.
You don't remember that?
No, I don't.
You don't remember that at all?
That was the only time. If that, which I don't doubt that it happened.
I remember it. I remember you sang at your own wedding.
Well, then that was the only time I think we ever performed live. Everything else was studio.
At your wedding?
Yeah, I guess so. Wow.
Okay. How about that? I got to see the only live performance of your duo. Y'all didn't even have a name for your group.
Yeah, we did.
Oh, you did?
I toyed around with this, and he said, we couldn't come up with anything better, but we kind of called it Duplex.
Okay.
Because there's two, I don't know, man, Duplex. And he said, well, I can't come up with anything better, so we just kind of go with that Duplex. Okay. It was an 80s sounding thing, So.
Well, back in the day, listener, I don't know that anybody younger than me is listening right now, but if you are, Back in the day, the letter X was exciting.
Yeah.
If you had the letter X in the name, that's why so many drugs have X's and Z's in there.
Right. That is the truth. You are speaking the truth.
Yes,
man.
yes. So Duplex. I got to see I'm one of the few people that saw a live performance from Duplex before the group broke up.
Yeah, and that marriage probably lasted about as long as the group did. So,
Well, and I think that's one of the few marriages that I officiated as well. That's why I remember it so vividly, as I had to be there as the officiant.
Yes.
One of the officiants. Michael Stewart, we have more. We're going to get into his encounters with Robert De Niro when we continue with Michael Stewart on the Uncle Henry Show after the news break.
Time Saver Traffic from the Main Street Flooring and Design Traffic Center.
Watch for an accident with partial road blockage and with injury on Scenic Highway at Noriega Drive in Pensacola. We also have some congestion on eastbound Highway 98 at the Bankhead Tunnel. From Government to I-10, it's a 6-minute drive time. Also on Highway 59 from I-10 to Gulf Shores, 49-minute drive. With Time Saver Traffic, I'm Lisa Bakke.
This report is sponsored by Starbucks. The pumpkin spice latte is back at Starbucks. Handcrafted with their signature espresso and real pumpkin sauce. Then topped with whipped cream, cinnamon, and nutmeg. PSL. Get it while it's hot or iced. Only at Starbucks.
Hello, I'm Cameron Taylor with Fox 10 News. Mobile police say a 35-year-old woman was shot and killed overnight at a home on High Street. Police responded early this morning and found Virginia Brown dead inside. Police say a man stayed at the scene and cooperated with investigators. Now we're told it's an incident between people who knew each other. Police handed the case over to the Mobile County DA's office. We'll keep you posted as we learn more. In Foley, police say 2 people of interest are in custody in Florida in connection with a Sunday night shooting that sent a man to the hospital. The shooting happened on East Azalea Avenue. Police say 20-year-old Amit Houston remains in critical condition. We're told the people of interest are being held in Jacksonville, where detectives from Foley PD plan to question them. Police also seized the vehicle that could be evidence in the case. We have more details about this developing story on our website, fox10tv.com. Well, it was a big day in Baldwin County. Orange Beach City Schools hosting a ribbon cutting for its new athletic complex. It's a $47 million facility. The school system broke ground on the complex 2 years ago, but it's been in the making for nearly a decade. It includes a gym, multi-sports pavilion, and many other improvements. There's also an open house happening on Friday where the public can tour the complex. I'm Cameron Taylor with Fox 10 News on this iHeartRadio station.
This is News Radio 710 WNTM.
Fox News, I'm John Saucier. President Trump's warning Hamas if it doesn't keep its end of the bargain in a peace agreement with Israel, there will be consequences.
We want the weapons to be given up, sacrificed, and they've agreed to do it. Now they have to do it, and if they don't do it, we'll do it.
The Iranian-backed terror group released its 20 remaining living hostages to Israel in exchange for Palestinian prisoners. We're 2 weeks into a government shutdown. The president is making plans to cut Democrat-backed programs. He says they're not essential and have a list by Friday. Republican Representative Jim Jordan on Fox Business says voters recognize the need for the Office of Management and Budget to cut spending.
I think the country understands that when you got a $37 trillion debt, the Democrats won't open up the government. The head of OMB and the Trump administration got to do what they got to do, and that's what this is. And as you said, coupled with DOGE, this is all about saving the taxpayers' money and actually making our government more efficient.
America's listening to Fox News.
Ron is here from Mobile Bay Coins and Fine Jewelry. Ron, do you have a good selection of investment-grade collectible coins for the serious coin collector?
Yeah, thousands of items. We get new stuff in every single day. And my happiest point of the day is when somebody comes in and asks to see a specific coin date or options as far as a certain date or looking for a key date. It's the funnest part of the job.
Mobile Bay Coins and Fine Jewelry, 2204 Government Street in Midtown Mobile. MobileBayCoins.com.
At Advanced Dermatology and Skincare Center, our board-certified
Hey, YouTube viewers, thank you for watching on YouTube. We're going back on the radio here with Michael Stewart in about a minute. Go back on there in about a minute. Thank you to those of you that have subscribed to the YouTube channel. I appreciate that very, very much.
I'm reading some of the comments on the.
Yeah,
YouTube
I
channel.
don't have it up in front of me. Or is there anything bad? Is there anything I need to know about?
No, nothing bad. Someone said, "Who's this guy?"
Okay.
Someone says he looks like a guy named Grant that he knows, but that guy was a strapping young man, but always smelled bad though. Nope, that's not me.
That's not Michael Stewart. No.
So,
he has California sweat glands that you just can't smell in the Deep South. You just can't.
Yeah, really depends on what you're doing in life, right? Jello
Exactly.
Yeah, but a lot of good people saying hi and stuff, and questions like, does he get royalties? We need to save that for on there.
We will, because we heard a story about that. Oh, we're going back on standby.
So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
It says the Uncle Henry Show. My guest this hour is Michael Stewart. Longtime Mobile radio personality Michael Stewart, who was on WABB in the late 80s and the early 90s. Also known as Marathon Mike during part of his time at WABB. And we're going to talk to him about this movie he was in. But before we do that, I've received a voicemail during this show. Let's listen to this voicemail that just came in.
Okay.
Uncle Henry, this guy you're having on, I remember him, Marathon Mike, Michael Stewart. If he got in 1984, then he got in just a few years after the hippies had left WABB. Just thought I'd point that out to you. You have a good day. Bye-bye.
Hey, thank you very much for that. You're right. There were, back in the day, WABB AM was a big force, and their FM was album rock, where they played a lot of hippie music.
Yeah, they play the AOR stuff. In fact, when they were doing that, I think on Thursday nights they would at midnight would play like an album, the whole album of pick an album every Thursday night at midnight. That style. So I guess the hippies were the long hairs, the thin long hairs back then, right?
Yes, indeed. Now, do you before we move on from this, I just want to ask Michael this, because I remember listening as a radiophile to 97.5 FM WABB when they were album. Do you remember they had these elaborate top-of-the-hour stagers? Do you remember that? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I think, let's see if this is it. The WABB 97 FM, Mobile's 100,000-watt blowtorch.
Yes, yes.
Remember that?
Well, the production was so elaborate.
Yeah.
It just sounded like things were blowing up, and it just You remember that?
Oh, yeah. Pete Stacker was the guy who was the name, and early on, John Chapman was our production director.
That's the name.
John Chapman would put a lot of those together, and then after him, Chip Maples.
Okay, remember Chip? He worked in this building with us back when this was Clear Channel. But so Michael Stewart, he has also been an actor. We've talked on other shows with Michael about different acting jobs that you've had. And people, for example, can find you on the ID channel. Is that right?
Yeah, there's a couple of shows on there. One's called Swamp Murders, and I think another one was Nightmare Next Door, or those shows.
Nightmare Next Door.
I don't know. It's been a while, but yeah, those are the shows where they're reenactments from real crimes.
Okay, so you've done a lot of acting jobs, but you. A few years ago, about 4 years ago, you came to our area to be in that Robert De Niro movie. What's it called again?
About My Father.
About My Father. So you got a speaking role in a scene with somebody that, even though a lot of people listening to this station are disgusted with De Niro's behavior and politics, he was considered one of the top actors of the 70s, 80s, 90s, and beyond.
Yeah, yeah, and and I look at it as like, despite whatever type of person they are, the acting part itself, just like a musician, if you just take and listen to their music and you're a fan and you see their talent, De Niro is a great actor. Look, he's been around for 5 decades, and so it's
so talk about working on that movie. Were you nervous to talk in the movie in a scene with De Niro standing within arm's reach?
Yeah, driving down, I came down here to Mobile, and our our base, our little where we had our dressing rooms was the church up there was the Dolphin Way Baptist Church.
Okay.
And then we shot the scenes over at the country club. And so when we were waiting, they would drive us over. And so I rode over, like on one of the days on set, I rode over with Kim Cattrall from Sex and the City and told her, I said, hey, I remember the first time I saw you in anything was Mannequin. And she said, oh, I almost forgot about that. So you remember Mannequin in 1980?
Yeah, terrible. Just a terrible movie. But she did fine.
Oh,
she
yeah,
survived
she did.
doing that. And you actually, she's now riding around in cars with you.
Yeah, and so we get on scene, and I'm a little nervous because it is my first big movie like that. I've done some extra stuff. I've been in TV shows, countless commercials, but this is the first time with like these big people. And I had my lines all learned, everything. And then a couple hours before we shoot, they send me a message saying we've changed the script.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. And so so you had to kind of like fast learn it. And I thought, what if I blow this in front of all these people and all?
Hey, before you talk about blowing it, or if you did or not, tell the listener what your role was.
Okay. Towards the end of the film, there is a party. I think it's called a clam bake. And the scene is... There's an MC that comes out and is talking to everybody, and then one of the cast people takes my microphone and takes over from that. So I'm literally on the screen talking for maybe 5 seconds.
Okay, but you're an MC.
I am.
Okay, with De Niro there. All right.
Yeah.
Now tell us, they changed your lines right before you walked out to do your lines.
Yeah, they shortened them, actually.
Okay.
And I thought, oh, man. So it's amazing on these things. We do a lot of stuff that don't make the film.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it. I was going to be able to say I'm the only guy that I know that did the chicken dance next to Robert De Niro multiple times, and it never made the film.
Oh, y'all did a chicken dance scene?
Yeah, no. You know the whole.
Yeah.
We had to do that. It was in the part of the script, and that didn't make the film. I guess it was a time thing, and they got cut. But I survived about 5 seconds, and then you can see me just kind of standing on the stage in a lot of the other scenes. But it's all right towards the end of the film.
What was it like? What was he like? Because you had a conversation with Kim Cattrall, the actress. Mm-hmm. She's a big shot.
Yep.
Talk about any interaction you had with De Niro. What was he like?
Very to himself. He didn't come out in public very often. He stayed in his dressing room, green room, all those things. And then when he finally did, I just, if I want to do something, I might as well do it. So I walked up to him and I said, hey, I just want to thank you for your years of work. And I was actually an extra in your movie Las Vegas back in 2017. And he wasn't that friendly then. In 2017, if you know what I mean. And then, and he said, oh, okay, thank you. And I said, would you mind if I could get a selfie? And he said, do I have to get up? And I said, absolutely not. And I squatted over and bent next to him, took a couple pictures, and that was the most of our interaction right there.
Okay, so he was not gregarious.
No, he was not a outgoing, friendly guy. Now, look, and part of this is I get it. You imagine going your whole life everywhere you went, everywhere. You couldn't go to any place in the whole world without people going, hey, that's Robert De Niro, or hey, that's Uncle Henry, Yeah. And so I get that you probably have
get tired of it.
Millions of people come up to you. So I get why he wants to be away from all of that when he's on set, because you just got a lot of adoring people. I was just being a fellow actor, even though we have a lot of different experience and all that, just to say thanks and get a picture with him. And so
now, one of the people watching us on YouTube, and my apologies for not seeing this question, but somebody on YouTube watching the Uncle Henry Show on YouTube wanted to know if you get royalties for that movie. Are you making money off that movie now?
Yeah, so they pay you for the days that you work. Anytime you do anything from the Screen Actors Guild, SAG, AFTRA, they have rules and guidelines and pay. So depending on how long your part is, if you speak, if you don't speak, can they see you, can they recognize you, all that, there's a pay grade per day. And so I made money for the days that I was on set. And then you get royalties anytime. And it took a while because here's an interesting thing. I got the audition came in September of 2021. We shot the scene the second week of October, almost, to this month, in 2021. The movie didn't come out until May of 2023.
Okay.
So it was like a year and a half where you just kind of sit and wait and go on about your life and almost forget, oh, yeah, that's right, that's coming out finally. so then shortly after that, probably about 3 or 4 months after that, I got some checks. And then about every 3 or 4 months, maybe 4 times a year, I'll get some checks from that. And they get smaller as they go, obviously, because it's getting older. But it just came out on Netflix last week, and it was at number 2 on Netflix, and I think it's still in the top 10. So I'm getting a lot of my friends all text and write saying, "Just saw you on TV."
So now are these great checks? I mean, can you pay the power bill with these checks?
Oh yeah, I paid plenty of power bills with them. I had one where it was kind of funny. It was like maybe like a what did I tell you? It was like $7 or $17? $7. I had a $7 check one time. That didn't pay anything. It bought me a coffee. Depends on where you go. But yeah, I mean, that's good. You do well when you have national SAG. I did a commercial one time. I'll tell you this, back in probably 2010 for BMW. And I probably made, I don't know, maybe about 10 grand on that one.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And
that's nice.
Yeah. And did another one. It was over the year, over the year they pay. And another one, probably close to the same thing on that one. You see why actors keep doing what they do over and over. Like by the time one movie comes out, they've already filmed 2 other ones, and they know because you're going to continue to get royalties for as long as royalties are had, through those projects.
But you got picked to be in a BMW commercial.
Yeah.
That's a great brand to be better than many others. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you.
Congratulations. All right, we have more. We have our remaining moments, our final segment with Michael Stewart. Coming up after the break here on News Radio 710 WNTM's Uncle Henry Show. Don't forget you can listen back to episodes as podcasts. Podcast available on the iHeartRadio app or at newsradio710.com.
710 Time Saver Traffic from the Main Street Flooring and Design Traffic Center.
If you're traveling in Milton, we've got a crash with injury and road blockage. Cooley Drive at West Spencer Field Road, and crews have cleared an accident on East 9 Mile Road at University Parkway. And we have slowing on Foley Beach Express and eastbound on the Bayway from I-65 to the Eastern Shore. It's a 17-minute drive. With Time Saver Traffic, I'm Lisa Bakke.
This report is sponsored by Mattress Firm. Hurry! Mattress Firm's Upgrade Your Sleep sale ends soon. See their sleep experts today to find your perfect bed from their premium selection and save big on better rest. Mattress Firm. They make sleep easy.
Uncle Henry here with John McNeil and Virginia O'Brien of Mobile Bay Financial Solutions.
The investment landscape is changing rapidly, and staying informed is crucial.
At Mobile Bay Financial Solutions, we keep you updated on the latest trends and investments.
From environmental, social, and governance factors to technology-driven investments in AI, blockchain, and fintech that are driving new opportunities. Understanding these trends can help you make informed decisions.
Stay informed and plan for your financial future with Mobile Bay Financial Solutions.
Call us today at 666-5000. That's 251-666-5000. We help turn what's possible into what's next.
Advisory services offered through Mobile Bay Financial Services, LLC, an Alabama-registered investment advisor. We can offer investment advice in states where we are registered, exempt, or excluded from registration. The material contained herein should not be construed as an offer or solicitation for investment advice, securities, insurance, or other investment products.
Joe Bullard Wine on the River is back this Saturday, and only a few tickets remain. Join us Saturday, October 18th at Battleship Memorial Park for an afternoon of international wine tastings, live music, and food from your favorite location restaurants. Benefiting United Way of Southwest Alabama, Joe Bullard Wine on the River is the local favorite event for the wine lovers.
YouTube viewers, thank you for watching. We're in the break. We're going to be back on the radio here in about 3 minutes with our final moments with Michael Stewart. A programming note for you. I have a brand new show that is going to be on tomorrow where I interview the sheriff, Sheriff Birch. That is tomorrow. It'll be brand new, but it will not be here on YouTube. I'm not going to be here live. I'm going to be out and available for the Tim Camp Celebration of Life. So I will not be here live on camera tomorrow, but if you enjoy the show, there'll be a brand new episode with the sheriff. And yes, we do talk about his controversial Halloween decorations for a little while, among with other arresting people. Hello to Richard Harvey, Nathan American, Audio MSP, thank you all for looking in, whoever you are.
That's me.
Chuck. Oh, okay. Very nice. Hey, subscribe to me on YouTube. Audio MSP.
I do.
I need all the help I can get. Decided to start doing the YouTube thing every day about a month ago. So it's a slow build.
Well, it is. Trust me, I've been on it for years, and you have way more than I'll ever have. So.
Well, you need to upload more of your swamp murder.
My church videos, me and my jackets.
That ain't nothing wrong with that. Going to be back on the air here in about 90 seconds. I wish I could think of more places that you DJ'd that are no longer in existence.
There were some teen clubs. A guy named Jeff and Cam ran. I remember Cam, a lady named Cam.
See, we can't.
Was a manager.
They don't have those anymore.
The teen clubs are all gone. Yeah.
Well, it's too much trouble. I mean, now the teens are the top lawbreakers.
Exactly. But yeah, there was one on Airport Boulevard. The Cave. The Cave. That's what it was called.
Where was that?
On Airport Boulevard on the right. It used to be right before where that Pizza Hut used to be, and it's gone. Everything's gone. Everything died.
Where was the Pizza Hut?
Between, not all the way up to Azalea Road. Oh, wait a minute. Was this? Yeah, this was further up, closer to Azalea Road, but that's where that Pizza Hut was on the right-hand side, going towards west.
Now, when I think of missing pizza, I'm remember quite fondly Shakey's.
Oh gosh, yes, Shakey's Airport in Azalea.
Yeah, I missed that. I remember really liking that. All right, here we go with our final segment with Michael Stewart.
This episode of Our American Stories.
Available everywhere with the iHeartRadio app. Now #1 for podcasting. This is News Radio 710 WNTM, an iHeartRadio station.
Uncle Henry's Show. News headlines coming up in 10 minutes. Michael Stewart is here as guest. Michael Stewart, you may have heard him years ago on WABB as Michael Stewart or as Marathon Mike. And if you watch Fox 10, I know you can hear his voice on there every day doing TV commercials.
Yeah, there's a lot of them, yeah.
The Hanson Supertex is one of them, because I used to do those spots. And then one day I turned on TV and I'd been replaced by Michael Stewart.
Stop.
Yes.
I know nothing.
I know you know nothing. I know you, but I didn't lose anything to that, so don't think that I lost anything there. So just you can hear Michael all the time on TV. Now, we were talking in the last segment about your roles in movies. About My Father. People can see that now on Netflix. You with De Niro. And Kim Cattrall and others. Now, I've gone to imdb.com, and I'm on your Michael Stewart page.
Yeah, see, that's the big page where you want people to go and visit, and you can see pictures and clips and find out all the different things I've done. Not everything I've done on there, because a lot of the commercial work doesn't go on there. I've done, gosh, like I said, hundreds of commercials and several TV shows, some short
let's
films.
See. I see About My Father. Mm-hmm. I see something called Keys to the City. What is that?
That was a movie about some people in Atlanta, and I played a radio guy interviewing somebody.
Okay, so Keys to the City. I see you on the TV show Your Worst Nightmare, where you play Officer Davis Matthews on Your Worst Nightmare.
That's it.
I see you in Swamp Murders. You play a couple of roles, Officer Corey Davidson, and then you also play Detective Short.
Yeah, those are two different episodes. So it's like I guess they didn't think that people would recognize me a couple of years apart. But
now I see you were in something called The Worst Love Story Ever. What is that?
Don't even waste your. It was a short film by a friend of mine in my local area. It's a local production, and it's kind of taken it's going to be one of those things, I think, when people look back at 20 years from now, they'll go, it was so, I don't want to say the word bad that it was good, that it's turned into a cult thing. I don't know.
Okay. All right. Well, let's see. What else? You were in the TV series Startup. You played the part of Tony.
I don't even remember.
You were in 2012, you were in something called Shades.
Yes, that's a short film.
Where you played the Popcorn Man.
That's right. Yeah, that was a story of a guy who had these shades, and he put them on, and he could see the true aura of somebody. Take them off, and he saw, how they looked to everybody else.
So he looked at you as you were.
I was a chef. I was a popcorn guy in a park when he put the shades on. I was a chef.
Okay, all right. All of this is on the Michael Stewart IMDb.com page.
Yeah.
So, do you have any acting projects coming up?
I am currently not doing anything. I am in the ballet, though. I also play, every year I play Drosselmeyer in the Nutcracker for the Georgia Academy of Dance, and it's a wonderful company and a wonderful production every year. They've been doing it for 30-something years. It'll be my 6th year. I've done multiple ballets with them in the spring, but every Christmas we do the Nutcracker. And you're probably wondering, am I wearing tights? That's the question. No.
Well, no, I didn't wonder that, but I wanted to know if you dance. I mean, are you dancing and prancing around?
I am not dancing as a ballet dancer. There are some mystical moves and things that I can still do it, but yeah, so I do those. But it's more of an acting thing than it is dancing, which is why if I had to dance in ballet, I wouldn't be in them for sure.
All right, so anyway, we're almost out of time, and Michael Stewart was here because tomorrow night he is going with a lot of us to the Tim Camp Celebration of Life. Before we're out of time, is there anything about Tim Camp that you can share?
The first story Tim ever shared with me was when a DJ by the name of Wild Bill Hooper had hid under the console and had a long tube going under the ground into the newsroom and into the board, the mixer board. And he had a Windex tube or a bottle, and he put a little hole in it and stuck a cigarette on the end of that tube. So when you squished that bottle, it would smoke the cigarette and send the smoke up the tube. And it went in there while David Page, I don't know if you remember that name.
I do remember him.
He was reading the news, and all of a sudden the board started smoking.
So wait a minute. So Wild Bill created an elaborate Rube Goldberg type device to get smoke into a radio control board.
And David thought it was on fire, so while he was live on the air, he threw his coffee on the board to put it out. And that was the story. I remember Tim Camp shared that story with me, and how it cost a lot of money, had to replace all these parts, and they were so mad at Bill, and just, but man, you're talking about brilliant practical joke on that one. That was hilarious.
So that was a story that Tim told you.
Oh yeah, I remember he shared that with me one time. That was hilarious, and so you can tell he had a lot of good stuff in his days in the radio. Back in the days of Mom and Pop. That kind
exactly.
Of stuff.
All right, we are out of time. Aside from your IMDb, do you have a website or anything you'd like people to go to?
AudioMSP.com. You'll see a lot of my stuff there. Same thing on Facebook and Instagram, Michael Stewart Productions. And stop by. And thank you so much for letting me be here, man.
Always a pleasure to see you. Always. AudioMSP.com.
That's it.
AudioMSP.com. Michael Stewart, thank you for coming in again on the Uncle Henry Show.
Thank you. I love you, my brother. Thank you.
Love you, too. And there's more Uncle Henry Show coming up after the news break.
Fox on Tech.
Does the government...
And YouTube viewers, thank you for watching. As I mentioned earlier, there won't be video tomorrow, but I'll be back live on video Friday with more guests on the Uncle Henry Show. Thank you for watching. Have a pleasant evening and a pleasant tomorrow.